I just lost to a fucking garbage ass Yoshimitsu.
What's up, friends? Ray here. So, I wanted to take the time to kind of discuss my whole fighting game philosophy. And kind of, take a dive in how I play Yoshi, because I feel like out of all the Tekken characters out there, Yoshimitsu is probably the most versatile one. It's awesome to see so many different styles of Yoshimitsu, and I think that's a testament to how versatile the character is. So today, I just kind of want to talk about how I utilize them, what I do, my whole philosophy behind this thing. First and foremost, this is my very first Tekken game that I've gotten into. I have played fighting games. I've been playing fighting games for a long time. For a while, Mortal Kombat was my jam, and then the Marvel vs. Capcom series came out. I enjoyed all that stuff. A lot of fun with MVC2, 3, all that stuff. So I played fighting games. Before this, I was playing with Dragon Ball Fighters. So I have a pretty solid fundamental knowledge of fighting games. And I think a lot of you Tekken experts out there are going to understand me when I say I don't know how to play Tekken. Tekken is a very particular game. There's a very particular system that is used with Tekken. And there's a lot of concepts that I'm still trying to familiarize myself with, because these are concepts I've never encountered in any other fighting game. So I'm applying a lot of general knowledge, but I'm not applying much Tekken knowledge. So let's just keep that for a frame of mind here, right? This will get you to blue at least. I've been the Tekken God season, or Tekken King season 1, so it kind of works. But anyways, I want to also use the footage of somebody by the name of Mr. Beefcake. I think we all know who this definitely is. I think only one person uses that fucking outfit. Oh man, and what if somebody shipped him that outfit? You think he'd wear that? If somebody like legit bought an outfit like that for him, he'd walk around. Anyways, here nor there. So let's use one of my favorite games to showcase what I'm about. So at the beginning of this, let's kind of go back here. You notice that Fang does a backstep. And that's pretty common with Fang. Fang does a backstep, and I think Steve also does something like a backstep. And so when you're playing against these characters, I already have a predetermined kind of knowledge just based on just playing enough of them. And so I kind of know what to do. So my opener here is going to be very tailored to Fang. This probably will not work with anybody else other than maybe Fang or Steve. So let's go back. So you notice that second jab stopped him from doing anything else, from following up from that stance. Now, if they try to follow up, it's going to hit them, and you're immediately going to go into burst, which is very advantageous in the early game. So when you're playing against Fang, this opener is pretty good. One more time. Okay, so he goes for the jab, duck it. While Rising 1 is really powerful, and it's something I'm going to call a noob killer, because people who know about that specific attack, and this is a great example of something in Tekken. While Rising 4 can actually be, While Rising 1, mashing it like that, can be interrupted and parried, and it's happened to me so many times by people who are quick enough to act. That's Tekken. That's Tekken. And so for the general people like this guy right here, you don't have to worry about being parried or anything like that. So I'm pretty comfortable throwing that out there. Right? Do it again. Now this is something I call a noob killer combo, and I will elaborate more on it in the training video, where I kind of go over some of my moves. But this down forward 1, and then if you're low, you kind of rising 1-1-1. It kind of locks them up. I'll go more in depth later on. Right. Good sidestep, nice sweep, another sweep, which was the perfect look. Call it like I see it. That was a great counter to Flash. One thing about Yoshi players, if you're playing Yoshi, Flash does not work on lows. So Brian's, Fangs, a lot of characters that have really good lows, I would be really careful about how you use flash against them. Good follow up, good follow up. Now this is also a pretty good whiff punisher. You're going to go in a Kincho stance, I think is what it is. Then you're going to press down, back 2 and 2 to do a launcher. And it covers a lot of space. And if you understand the spacing enough, you can use it to whiff punish. Just like that. Some bread and butter combos. Go low. Anytime I'm rising, I'm always trying to catch them slipping. And that's a good practice to have in these lower ends when you're playing people who don't know how to play Tekken. It's pretty good. It locks them up. Once again, one thing I've done, let's go to the previous round. One thing I'm punishing and I'm letting him know is that move is not going to work against me. It's not going to be as beneficial to use it against me as it would anybody else. Doing these charge up attacks right here, I'm really good at gauging them. Right? You're leading into big attacks and stuff like that. When somebody leaves them open, you got to be able to capitalize on the timing. And that's any fighting game, right? Anybody tries to leave themselves open with a combo like that, you find the window to attack and you attack it. And a lot of that's going to be trial and error. At this point in the game, I know he's more inclined to mash out of things instead of play defensively. And I use that to my advantage, which is how I got him with that rising attack. Right? He did the back thing again, and I caught the front end of it. Now that I messed up on. He's doing it. See, okay. He's getting, now at this point, he understands my timing. He understands the pacing I have. Unfortunately, you never, if you're playing against Yoshi, you never pressure them like that. You never, like, if they have health left and they're at an advantage in the round wise or whatever, you want to play as calmly and defensively as possible. It's really hard to apply pressure on Yoshi unless you really know what the fuck you're doing. Anytime you don't, you end up like this guy. Once again, he was holding it back to try to block any kind of mid or high. I noticed he didn't duck when I ran up on him, so I just took it. He's blocking, didn't block low. Catch him with the bread and butter. Yeah, I tried to go like an idiot. So at that point, I haven't seen those knees. I don't know how to really gauge that knee. Oh, look at this. Let's look at this. All right, so here, sidestepping. It's always good to practice sidestepping at the opener. You really, like, unless they do a tracking move or some kind of sweep, his sidestep uppercut is gold. Bam. Goodbye. One more time. At that point, I'm just carrying him to the wall. Now, you only get 3 of those setups. The down back, or I'm sorry, back 2-2-2, right? You can only do that around 2 or 3 times before it falls apart. And honestly, it's probably the least optimal. I really only do it to kind of get cheap damage in. It's not the best route. I know that for sure. All right, so what I did here was I went into stance and I went low. If you notice, he really does not block lows. Once again, pressures me. And he leaves himself open at flash. 3rd time I caught him with that. Right? I understand now that he's not really going to adjust mid-combo. He's an all or nothing kind of guy. He fully commits to things. Even now, he was fishing for the jab, right? You saw that coming, and you just kind of take advantage of it. Easy. At this point, he really hasn't attacked my lows. He's really only been mid or high on this. He's attacked my lows once to kind of poke, but other than that, I feel pretty confident in what his strengths are and what his weaknesses are. And that's kind of what leads to this win here. Easy. Armor. Every single time I catch him. That knee was just to kind of confirm that he's not going low at this point. So every time he does that back stance, with exception of maybe once or twice, I've always countered it, I've always blocked it, and it's just because that's a lot of his bread and butter. That's a lot of Fang's bread and butter. And so don't be afraid to jump in there. It's kind of slow, but practice it. So here, at that point, I grabbed him maybe a couple of times, but I never trained him to expect the grab. Go in there. They're always going to try to jab out of that. And at the end of that spin, you are at kind of an advantage. I know some moves work, some don't, but for Fang, that grab superseded him. Bing, bang, boom, as they would say, and you clutch the win. Now, a lot of that, I will say, I would not say I beat him just because I'm a better Tekken player than him. I beat him because I was able to understand his flow quicker than he was able to understand mine. And I kind of kept it ambiguous at times, but I noticed his lows were whack, and so I attacked that. Didn't understand pacing. He didn't understand how to play against a flash blade, so I took advantage of that. And his whiff punishing. Boy, his whiff punishing was easy. That stance to back 2-2, I caught him pretty much every single time I threw that out there. Anyways, so let's get into the bread and butter of things. I want to go to the tutorial mode and kind of show off some of my tips and tricks as well as some other things. So let's get to it. All right, so here we are in training. Let's turn on some options, actually. Where's it? Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so as we start, diagonal up 4. That's that back kick. Anybody, this works on about 60 to 70% of the roster when you're counting like startups. With June, as you saw in the video, it worked perfectly. And you can also do it forward, and then just up does it neutrally. So it's pretty versatile, and that little amount of space actually makes a big difference. So you got that. Of course, the jab. I'll do the jab all the time. That's a 10-frame startup. It's the quickest opener you got. Now, it's a high, though, so some people can duck it or go low. Kings go low a lot on the opening. So I say the safer option is actually down forward 1. Right? It's a few frames slower at 13, but it's pretty good. It's quick, and it will interrupt pretty much anybody going low unless they're like maybe Kazuya or some of the Mishimas possibly. But you can also follow that up with a 4. To kind of create space. Then you can do the noob killer lockout is what I'm dubbing it. It's right, so down forward 1, 2, down back 2. Yeah, it's down back 2. So, and then from there, as you're rising, you're just gonna mash 1. Do that a couple times, bam. Then do it again. Right? Now, here's the thing. It is a fake combo for sure. Those punches can get parried. That whole process can be interrupted at any time. So be real careful with it. But you can use it to train people like you saw with that June. Right? Go low. Bam. Oh. Oh. Right? Then you can go high, all that shit. So that's pretty optimal. And I would first get used to just throwing it by itself before you try to implement it in a combo, because even without the combo itself, it's a pretty good interrupter. It will definitely get in between a lot of setups, and it's a really valuable tool. So learn that as much as you can. As far as startups, I think that's really it. You can go 2-2, right? But that's still double high. It sheathes your sword, so it's pretty good. But once somebody sees that, they're going to be more aware of it, and it's real easy to counter. So be real careful with that. Some of my favorite things is just holding back, letting people gauge themselves, right? Now, if you're playing against somebody that backdashes a lot, right? They're not really engaging, like a Steve or a Fang. That bad boy. Up 4. I always press diagonal for some reason, but up 4 is really good because it moves forward and it's got a lot of good range. So if they're backing up, you can always catch them with that. And then fucking... Oh, fuck that up. There it is. Things like that. So that's pretty good in certain situations, but it's only when somebody's trying to create space. If they're backing up, that's a good answer to catch them off guard. You can also follow up with that too. So as far as starters, that's pretty much it. Now, burst enables. Like burst, right? There are plenty of options here. You can always do forward or down up 1-2 for the grab, or any kind of grab really. So that's always an option. You can also, I always like to do this sometimes in the openings. If I'm not sure how they're going to react, I think the jab is probably the safest thing out there. Right, just to see if they block it, how they block it, are they going to try to interrupt it? That'll kind of give you ideas on how to follow up afterwards. So that's probably the safest way to open up. Now, my favorite way is the hell sweep. Bam! So you got to hold down forward and press 1. Now that is a very powerful tool. This is probably one of his best moves that I've played with because it's so versatile. It works in a lot of situations. It's one of those defensive attacks that I think he has because you can play it very defensively. If somebody's trying to grab heavy you like a king or somebody, you can really shut that shit down really quick, and it's unblockable. In the higher ranks, a lot of people try to down forward parry your lows, right? This is not parryable. You cannot do that. So it's a really good setup. Perfect once you get them used to this, right? You grab them a little bit, right? And then you go low. And they're gonna be like, what the fuck? And you got their ass. Okay. More situations to kind of control the tempo, right? If somebody's fucking with you, obviously Flash Blade. You can use that. You're going to find a situation where that's not going to work, where people will understand it and play around it all the time. And you have to really be conscious of how much you're depending on this, because at early stages against people who don't know how to play against, it's like crack, bro. It's addicting. It's almost makes you feel like you're untouchable. But then you start playing higher end players and you're going to hate yourself because you leave yourself open so many times because of Flash Blade. At least that's been my experience, right? So I'm real careful about that. Other than that, man, it's just bread and butter combos. One thing I like to do is this. That's down forward 3. You can sweep, right? Another thing I like to do, that knee is really good. As a matter of fact, I would suggest throwing that knee out as much as possible to understand the timing of it. Throw it out when somebody's chasing you down. Throw it out as a defensive attack. Just understand where it fits because it is a very versatile tool and it'll help you out in a lot of situations. I'm learning that myself. That and I love baiting launchers. Look at that, 15. That's just 2 more than that. That's like your 3rd quickest attack, and it goes low, so it ducks a lot of highs. And you just set them up. Stances. Dragonfly, I gotta be honest with you, bro. It's not as powerful as it used to be. I think a lot of people now are used to it, and so it's hard to catch people with it. the 1, right, while you're up, Dragonfly 1 is pretty good because a lot of people are going to be ducking. And if when they duck, it bounces them. 4 initiates bursts. And I think if they block, it knocks them back. But for the most part, you got to be real careful with that. I don't rely on that as much as I used to. The stance, this 1-2, this thing is awesome. So this will really help you switch up the game here with enough space. And once again, you got to play him a lot to learn the spacing of this, right? But that's just a matter of time. And then when you have that spacing correct, you're gonna. One of my favorite things to do is continue to do this. I usually do it max at 2 times, sometimes 3 if I think they're dumb enough. But then I follow it up with forward 1. That fucks them up. Because at that point, they're trying to block low, and they're getting hit by that. Now, there's also back 2, which covers a lot of space, right? You don't think it covers that, or you don't think it would cover there, but... All right. There it goes. Right? That's a really good judge of space. So don't be afraid to use that to kind of get people to back up from you, and it creates space. It's a really good tool. The next one is forward 2. This is really good. Let's set them to block real quick. So it's not only a heat burst, a heat engager, but it creates a lot of space. So that's really good. I don't use that very much. It's a little too slow for me. Right, that's 12 frames. That's super quick. And he moves forward when he does it, so it covers more space. I don't think he moves forward on this one. Yeah, it does. I guess he moves forward on all of them. But the important one is the 3. You can really set people up pretty well with that. So I think that's really about it. I can go over some combos that I use, some of the optimal combos. But I'm not really providing any new information, right? It's all the same optimal routes. It's just learning how to catch them. And optimizing when you do catch them. We hop, catch them like that, right? And then when you do that, and they start blocking the low, you can rising knee and take care of that. The down forward 3, perfect, right? You can do that. Now, oh, another thing, when your sword is sheathed, your attack changes. So that down forward 3, now if you do a sweep, when it connects, it'll actually it's not sheathed. There it goes. Set you up for the attack. And once again, down forward 1 is how you're going to open up a lot of those combos, or follow up a lot of those combos. So and then you get in there, creep up, catch them again. And then they're going to want to do something, you spit on them. Down, back, 1-2, right? Corner pressure is amazing with him, bro. Oh, fuck, I fucked that up. Right, as soon as they're in the corner, you can catch them. Pretty much anything. But what I like to do is, let's get him in the corner here. Load up, bam, and that leaves you open for more shit. So the corner play is actually pretty important, I would say. I would spend a lot of time in the corner. Anyways, that's how you play a garbage ass Yoshimitsu. Enjoy.